It is therefore imperative, women of Jesus Christ, our King and Savior, to fight this particular thing that's going on in these men. Because in the absence, remember I said this is a prophecy, in the absence of fighting this, you're gonna end up like me, but perpetually. You will have to ride out the last days without capitulating to suicide, by yourself with no one to love or support you. And it's gonna get so evil and so dark that you are going to struggle to stay faithful, holy, pure, consecrated to Jesus. And so basically risk making the rapture because of how much you will want to compromise just to get through the day. The world is going to get increasingly wicked, and you are going to therefore, as a result of the world getting increasingly wicked, become increasingly like a sore thumb that sticks out. And that's sticking out like a sore thumb. If you're doing it by yourself, just so you can get relief from being bullied for being a sore thumb, you will be tempted to compromise. And in so compromising, when the rapture finally does happen, you're gonna miss it, and the tribulation is going to be that much worse.
Hey, are you feeling reached by my content on YouTube? If so, you might be interested in checking out my tweets as well, alongside reading my content on my WordPress account, alongside checking out my shorts on TikTok. They're all in the description box below. Please enjoy the next coming content. Bye.
I apologize for using my language. Some things just can't be expressed in English. My facial expression, body language on its own is an onomatopoeia. It should give you a sign or a hint or a more or less gauging as to what I just said there. Long story short, you're crazy. You don't get to let that go. Like, you and the street, like the street so much. I was saying when I was saying Mkakweni cul-de-sac and stop sign and yield sign. You so like the wild, the street out here. You like the street, like Rata Strata. It's just such a black term. Like, it's like you're forward. You like the streets. You're a street dude. And so because you like the streets, you're always all up embracing the stop sign, the cul-de-sac, T-junction. Like, come home to your wife, dude, and stop hanging out by the robot. I'm at the cul-de-sac, nanti right, puti ko wendlini. Yeah, nankatele kasmuch, I'm tired. Nankatele mtotandi statangaga. It's winter in South Africa. It is so cold. Cause when Anton we yield sign, put when Antoni we pedestrian crossing the otandi statanga corner.
Hello, please like, please comment, please share and share and share and share, and then please subscribe. Thanks.
So when shocking legislation gets passed that afflicts very negatively, adversely our lives as Christians, in those days, in the coming years, I mean, I speak as if though we're 10, 20 years from now, it's literally in the looming years, when that shocking legislation comes on board and it literally threatens our ministries online, our earning potential, our ability to keep our jobs and 9-to-5s and corporates, when that shocking legislation gets released and we get closer and closer to the mark of the beast and things of that nature, you know who in the world is going to not capitulate just to be comfortable in society, because you've been testing their fruit for years. And the best way to have strong, solid relationships that are not going anywhere is for women to be made secure in them. Women can be catty, growling. They have a thing about territory. Women have a thing about territory. Like, they treat men like it's their yards. I have a cat. I know how my cat is. When it comes to any other animal, so much is hovering around in the periphery of her, of this property where we stay at. It's our house, but no. According to my cat, it's my house. And so if another cat comes in this radius, there is a war that goes down. You can hear them fighting. So women are extremely territorial over husbands and homes and legacies and what have you. So the more married they are, the less likely to be catty with each other, because they've already marked their territory. The men that they are married to are theirs, and within the Christian faith there is a respect for marriage, and so you're not going to be scared that your friend or whatever is going to be stealing your husband. There is an honor, that comes with marriage. And so women are less likely to, morph into these, things that they can become once married. As well, when you're single, it becomes very difficult to thoroughly train women up in the admonition of the Lord. It is tough because, again, competitiveness. They are a lot more competitive when they are married. When they are unmarried than when they're unmarried, because we're sinners. We might be saved by grace, but we're still sinners. So the likelihood of then stronger, better bonds between women when they are married is higher, just based on basic human nature. So these marriages where these women feel convicted that this is my husband, and they feel as if though they're prodigal sons that are not quite coming back home fast enough. Yes, I don't disagree anymore. I used to be like, no, let the guy go. He clearly doesn't want a blessing. Must just let him go. I thought I wanted to let that stuff go. But I am being charged and I'm being told by Christ that women need to be admonished to fight the desire by these men who cannot live without us to attempt to come back into our lives just so they can be comfortable and swing on a hammock, but not solidify a marriage relationship. That if these men don't, and these women, if they don't do what God has said they need to do, there will be a loneliness in the future that is inescapable. And it will tend believers towards either suicide or spiritual compromise, to end up like the world. When the world goes awry to a point of literally rolling down and making it prescription, certain legislations that Christians just cannot abide by, a complete disregard for our religious freedoms, it's going to get even worse. And these people are either going to capitulate to those laws or kill themselves. Either way, you're in danger of missing Christ as your inheritance eternally. So it's basically a soul issue. It's a soul issue, like a eternal salvation issue, as in a safety eternally issue. Now, more than it is about love and romance on earth and the butterflies, it is about safety. It is literally a bunker strategy. It's an end times strategy to get married. It is an end time strategy. And so this cancer in the Black community, where our men are reverse psychologying the living daylights out of us, and they want to pass us up and rather settle for women who are less fervent, like women who are less intense about Jesus. That temptation to settle for less intensity in women, because this intensity requires a lot of work in order to appease it, is going to land these men with lukewarm women, or women that will easily fall away when things get intense. Think about the parable of the sower. There is a category of people who fall away because things get hard. Like persecution hits them, and so the root does not form, and so this person does not bear fruit. These women that will appear godly on the surface will fall away when things get intense, when the heat escalates, when legislation is such that Christians are basically unable to live properly now anymore on earth without having all different kinds of barriers to entry slap them. And in that time, there needs to be a consortium in the church that is going to successfully fend for itself against these ridiculous structures in the world. In the absence of that consortium, we are going to be beleaguered and overcome. And I'm not even speaking about the tribulation. It's going to get real bad before it gets real bad. I'm speaking about pre-trib saints, like those who are yet to be raptured. Before the rapture happens, you think it's bad now. It's going to get worse. It's going to get increasingly terrible. But there is might in our fight. There is conquering in our fight. And if we come together in concert, we will prosper to repeal newly enacted legislations that are frankly ridiculous. We will be successfully able to do that because prior to the mark of the beast, prior to the tribulation, there will still be the grace of God catering to the general human race in total, meaning that Christian effort will actually suffice. It'll succeed to achieve what it wants to. It is only in the tribulation where Christians are just going to hit brick walls irrevocably, irrecoverably. They are going to get martyred with no recompense, no comeuppance, no right of recourse concerning infringing of Christian rights. Like none of that is going to exist in the tribulation. So prior to the tribulation, we are going to be able to successfully fight cases in court. Meaning that when we come together strategically with other believers, we will be able to topple, like I said, those ridiculous legislations that are going to come. Like right now, we are currently fighting that whole infanticide problem that is going on in the United States, successfully so. There are people that are standing, the church is praying, and there are lawyers and doctors that are coming up against this heinous, law, this act, whatever it is, or this regulation, they are coming up against us successfully. They're causing the world to wag their heads. It's a thought provoker. It is a thought, a mind, what do you call it? Like a topic of discussion, something that gets people talking, a conversation starter. It is a conversation starter sufficiently enough for even secular folk, like unsaved people, to come on board that conversation and in and of themselves be like, this is ridiculous. Christians are going to be able to prosper, to continuously change even the minds of secular people so that our lives can be livable prior to the rapture. But if you're living alone in a little house somewhere, or a room, a situation, you are going to struggle to resist capitulating to ridiculous legislation and so on and so forth. And you're also going to have a difficult time if at all you take a wife for yourself today. That is not quite Karabo. She's not, Karabo's hard work. Every time I think about Karabo, my brain wants to like pop. I become like Stressed Eric, the cartoon, and my nerve comes out after beating on my forehead and it strangles me. Like Karabo makes a man Stressed Eric. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, man. Like stop. Like the lethargy. So because these men think that we're going to make them like Stressed Eric and cause their nerves to pop out of their brains and strangle them to death, they are in their laziness and their sedentary, kind of chilling out lifestyle where they want to relax and not have to deal with a woman that speaks too much or vocalizes sin, like speaks against sin, that highlights challenges that ought be highlighted. You want an easygoing lady, eh? Like one of those dormant ones that are like a doormat indeed that says welcome at the bottom, and you leave it at the door the way it says nothing for the rest of the day. Like those are the women that you want. Okay, very well. But they're going to be so taxing when legislation gets awry. Like if you're a guy that's always, for instance, checking out end times prophecy and you're convicted that this here is the mark of the beast or it's leading up to it. And this woman is like, no, come on, man. It's just a chip. It's just a chip. Like that's how she said it. Like she feels as if though it's just a chip. It's so convenient. Like my office is rolling it out. And I feel as if though, why carry that like very heavy, nasty little lanyard? You know how it dangles? It messes with my outfit. That's how I used to think when I was at MTN. Those access cards that have a lanyard that you carry it with, and so that it's convenient for you to, when you're walking around the office, like not leave it at your desk and have to be like, oh, I have to go back to my desk, and then to go to the bathroom you have to like do a whole like return trip 2 times because you forgot your access card at the door. And so they recommend that you wear lanyards, so you're always carrying your access card on your person, and then everywhere you go. I am such a fashion diva. I used to love like getting all dressed up, and I felt like those lanyards ruined my outfit. So I had to train myself to carry my access card by my hand or pocket it or something so that I don't have to let that dangling thing that's not even a real necklace like mess with my outfit. So now imagine your wife being like, oh, babe, like it messes with my dress. And on top of that, every so often it's so dirty. And, the lanyard, sometimes it gets dirty. Like after a week, the white ribbon is starting to look cream white. It's gross. They're putting chips in our hands now. At least then it's in my body and I don't have to struggle with it going awry on me. Let me save content lest there should be a part. This woman is then like, no, babe, it's going to be convenient. And on top of that, it's not going to mess with my outfit. It's not going to mess with whatever it is out here in these streets that I'm trying to do as a fashionista. And you're like, babe, we spoke about this. The mark of the beast is going to be taken on the right hand and on the forehead. And it's going to come via very stealthily. It's going to be caused to be taken, and anybody at all that takes it won't be able to buy or sell. Do you not realize that your company mandating these chips, otherwise you're going to be removed off the payroll? Don't you see that it looks somewhat like the mark of the beast? You can't afford to take it, even though it's not confirmed it's a mark of the beast. This is not something you can do, babe. What am I supposed to do then? Must I quit my job? I mean, we need the salary. I mean, who is going to pay for this kid's school fees? That's my portion in the whole equation. Come on, babe. And you're just looking at this woman and you're like, you might take it for work. Next thing it's being used to like gauge what's going on in the household. Next thing it's being used to control you because it's got neural impulses in it because it's Elon Musk's Neuralink or something. And this woman is like, oh, babe, you're overthinking. Those are the women that these men are trying to be with. Today, they are in agreement with each other. Yes, I think it's a mark of the beast. I think it's a chip. I think it's this. I think blah, blah, blah. All these things, all these speculations that Christians are making as to what the mark of the beast is, when this is going to happen, blah, blah, blah. Today, because pressure has not mounted on their foreheads, it has not come on them heavily, like a boulder on your back. Because now, that is not yet here. They're cool. But when then legislation gets passed that every employee in every corporate across every country in the planet, in order for them to be registered on the systems and on the payroll of their organizations, have to take some kind of an RFID chip or something, then I mean, that's the kind of stuff that you're like, it makes you freeze. Already Christians currently don't want to take the V dot. They already don't want to take Bill Gates like juice. Hey, energy drink. That's what we shall call it. Because they are scared that it's the mark of the beast. We know it's not that, but they're vigilant enough to not go out like that. They're vigilant enough to, I don't have the V juice and I don't have any desire of drinking it either. And that is because of my own vigilance. Right? So now imagine a woman that is like, no, but babe, I need to go to the Netherlands, okay? I'm so sick and tired of chilling over here in South Africa. I feel like the Netherlands is the new South Africa because they are bordering on speaking Afrikaans, okay? And the husband is like, they need you to take the V juice. You know what that stuff means for children, for fertility, for... You have seen the adverse reactions you have. No, but babe, I mean, come on. I have a colleague of a colleague of a colleague that knows another colleague of an aunt, okay? And she's taken it and she's chilling in the Netherlands and she doesn't have any issues. You're overthinking this. That's what basically not coming together with the right partner in these last days means. People who are going to capitulate on things that are frankly unacceptable to take in your stride. Christians right now are fighting, mandating the energy drink. When your wife is not trying to join those who are fighting for their rights, voting appropriately, you are stranded, you're alone. Who are you going to drink with? Who are you going to chill with? Who are you going to sit at the bar with and drink your sorrows away because your wife is not quite coming on board with what's going on? Nobody. Because Karabo has gone on to marry someone else, so you can't call her, dude. You can't call me. Like, understand that you trying to direct message me when I have a husband. When we have the kind of history that we do, especially considering you're a man, even if we don't have history, I am not going to be able to, at liberty, just respond. With my husband not passing me shade, giving me issues and problems and being like, babe, I don't know how I feel about you DMing some strange dude that needs comfort from you because the days are evil. Because the days are evil. This person will want comfort. These men, these prodigal sons, they're going to want comfort from us if the Lord gives us to other men. But we are not going, like, how many of you men are content to have your wife constantly chatting with some ex-boyfriend or some dude that almost became a husband? Like, they are unhappy, period, with a dude that's entirely platonic. There was never, ever even an attempt at a relationship. It never happened. There was never any such risk at all. What then when there was somebody there were actual feelings? Butterflies were flowing. I love yous were exchanged. Plans were made, but they were suddenly halted. Your husband is going to be like, no, sorry. I would be irritated if my husband was busy chatting to some woman that he almost married and it didn't quite work out. I would be annoyed. I'd throw my toys out the cart. I'd like chop some people's heads off. Do you understand what I'm saying? Of course, like proverbially. Don't come at me for being a murderer. So I'm trying to make these the women basically understand that if you don't fight for these men, they're facing that kind of future. And not only that, you're facing a future of loneliness with nobody supporting you when you want to stand against the grain of the world. And you're going to struggle to find company in anybody at all. And the best way to maintain relations where you still have company is if you're coming together with your husband, with your wife. And so other women are going to trust you more easily, more readily. So you will have a circle of friends that are close-knit. And you will have a church community that caters to your needs. And even if you don't have a church community, the two of y'all will have each other's backs. Because churches are going to be increasingly difficult to continuously attend. Given all of these restrictions that continue to happen, it's going to be harder and harder to maintain the commandment given us all to not forsake gathering with the saints. It's going to be hard. In Canada, they're busy arresting preachers. So Christians are going to end up having either themselves to have one another's back in their households or small little Bible study groups just made up of like 2 or 3 couples. That's what's going to keep us going. So now if you don't have a bunker to live in of that nature, and you're single, like even if you're single, trying to infiltrate a circle of married people, you will always be the black sheep. You will be the black sheep. And you will also be the black sheep if you have a carnal wife. A carnal wife. Women and men are going to get increasingly watered down as the years progress. Understand that's going to happen. So the great apostasy will continue to increase in increasing measure. It will have that exponential growth. So those that want to stay like consecrated, sutured to Christ, they are going to find themselves increasingly alone. And so if you don't have a fervent wife next to a fervent husband, it's going to get real messy. So the music soul child song that the Lord put on my heart, the reason why he put that song on my heart is because I'm presently facing this risk. And I know that it is the risk that is faced by many other of my sisters that are busy talking about these prodigal sons. I'm speaking about a man that I'm in love with here. So I wouldn't invest all of these hours and all of this time if I didn't care about this guy or love him. Like, yeah, we got to that point where I love yous were exchanged and everything. But he's lazy to repent. No, not so much repent. He wants to repent. He gauges where it is that his problems were. But you see, the things he has done are to him so grating and so abominable to confess that rather than say sorry, apologize, and put in the work that is required in order to do what it is needed to do. Another thing about these prodigal sons as well is that they are they have callings. Like, they have to be Jonah, they have to be Moses. They've got big jobs to do, but they don't want to do them. They want to just sit and listen to Bible prophecy, sit behind their computers and listen to everybody else work in the kingdom of heaven. Goodness gracious, the laborers are plentiful, but the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. So the Lord is calling these men to labor in the kingdom of heaven. I'm scared that the podcast might happen at midnight. It's currently 23:53, so it's cool. We'll speak for another 2 minutes before we save content. Yeah, these laborers in the kingdom of heaven that don't want to come around fast enough to do their job. I mean, it's their job. It's been given to them. And if they don't want to do it, if they don't want to achieve it, if they don't want to conquer it, God is going to be like, what in the world is going on out here in these streets though? Hey, Batung, Noah. Hey, Batung, who is this? Joseph. Hey, Batung, Moses. Hey, Batung, Jonah. Hey, Batung. You get my point. Like, imagine if Noah didn't want to build the ark. Are you going to drown? No, God is going to make him build the ark because the Lord cares more about Noah than Noah cares for himself. So Noah's going to be given conviction. He's going to be, the darkness in him is going to be conquered to not want to fight. Imagine if Joseph was like, oh my goodness, this project here in Egypt, why do I have to do it? I'm just some dude that came from prison. Dude, I don't even know how to build anymore. I've lost my panache, my je ne sais quoi. I've lost my ability to like grind with my hands. The Lord would have done everything in his power to inspire, push him, like pinch him to get done what needs to be done. Because at the end of the day, Noah's rebuilding of the ark was not so much about Noah as it was about the continuation of the world through his particular genome. So too was the storing up of barns of wheat and water and whatnot, anticipating the famine that was coming by Joseph. Like, it was not so much about Joseph getting the baddest job in the game. It was not so much about Joseph getting that done more than it was about the Lord rescuing his Hebrews for a future. The tribe of Judah had to survive for Jesus to be born. The overall story, the what do they call it? The bigger picture, thank you. The bigger picture, the granular details are contributing to the bigger picture, and the bigger picture is what Christ is looking at. It's what this guy's obedience means for the future. Noah's obedience is the reason why I'm here. Joseph's obedience is the reason why I believe in Jesus and I'm going to heaven. Moses' obedience is the reason why Israel is even a country today. Do you understand? Jonah's obedience is the reason why, okay, I can't really understand, like, yeah, there's like a historical undertone to that, but then I'm not smart enough to be able to give that information. I'm not a historian. But if Jonah did not obey, what under heaven would have been some of the structures in the world today looked like? What would they have looked like? What would have been the overall loss? It's all about being futuristic, a visionary, looking very deeply into the future. Do you understand? To gauge why anybody at all needs to do anything. So these men don't get to say no. Because Moses, in saying no, means there is no Israel to be had, no country, no Canaan, no land to be called the land of God's people that's flowing with milk and honey. The country that we know today that is called Israel would not be if it wasn't for Moses. If it wasn't for him ushering the people of God out of slavery and then moving them in the wilderness for all those 40 years, following which Joshua and Caleb went in to go and grab the land flowing with milk and honey, and now today we call it Israel. There is no outcome in gathering for himself for a people by God in the absence of obedience by certain servants. And so there is no way they can ignore their call. So God makes a very compelling argument then for them to come into the kingdom. And mine is this: dear Noah, Joseph, Job, whoever your name is, like, understand that you might be kind of lazy to do what you need to do because you don't even think that you can preach. You think that the Lord showed me this guy basically saying in his mind, it comes so naturally to you. I don't know how to just roll freely in your gifts that way. Yo, Moses, you're literally Moses. He was speaking about how it is that he was stuttering. So the Lord will give you everything you need in order to do what you need to do. I don't know what your calling is. All I know is that you have one, and you have a responsibility to bring about a people for God. It is a much bigger thing than you. It is larger than you. So I'm standing in the gap for you as a Zipporah. And the only reason why you are super blessed with me speaking at length like this is because my heart, I do actually have feelings. I love you. And so for those reasons, I can't just abandon this, because I, one, don't want to be lonely. Secondly, I don't want to be riding out pre-tribulation like intensity and world insanity alone. I don't save content. Sorry about that. I had to save content because it's 23:58. And when the clock strikes 12, South Africa might decide that we don't deserve to have electricity. Anyway, whatever. Right. So I don't want to ride out darkness by myself. I also do, like, I've experienced loneliness. I've experienced the world getting dark by myself. I've already gone through that, and have nobody support me, have nobody come in agreement with me that things are really bad and quite ridiculously so. I don't want to go through this alone. I don't want to experience all of these challenges by myself. I seriously don't. I don't. So I'm basically fighting for my own heart now. I'm fighting for my own future. Remember yesterday I spoke about how it is that I feel as if though I've been sent to go and save a man so he can save me. I am strong in Christ in a way that is unshakable. I am obviously proven right now as the kind of person that you can ride out a pre-tribulation tribulation with. And for somebody who is always studying Bible prophecy and the end of days and how it is that it's just really terrible right now, you know that you have not found anybody else out here in these streets that will ride out that storm with you successfully, and also in tandem with other Christians that will embrace us well. I'm not the only woman that is speaking like this. That's why I say that this is a prophecy, not just for this man, but it's a collective issue. These women who are fighting for prodigal sons, this is the risk you're facing. Your men don't want to come. They don't want to come, even though they are besotted with you. They don't want to come into their calling, but they are convicted sufficiently that they've made mistakes enough to repent. But they are not. They are so lethargic, so lazy, so sedentary, and so self-doubting that they can do this because they don't have sufficient faith, that they want relationship with you. They do want contact with you. They want to pretty much keep you around. I just want you around. Yeah, you know that Lauryn Hill song? They want you around. They want to continuously be able to knock on your door, holla at you, send you a DM, you respond, the two of you then exchange notes, and then him sit in a corner and be like, I can't have her for a romantic partner, but she's very comforting. She's very comforting. They literally want to string you along because you are salve to their wounds. You put like aloe vera gel on their gaping scars in order to reduce the appearance of scarring. Like, you are Florence Nightingale. You're like a triage nurse to a soldier that's been amputated. Your beauty is tranquilizing to him. Your perfume is just a great scent for him to embrace, despite the pain in his amputated leg, with you having very little morphine to give him in order to deal with the pain in his leg since it's been amputated. You nonetheless function as a really great, what do they call this thing? not anesthetic, sorry, but analgesic. You function as an analgesic in and of yourself. You are kind of pain killing. And so even though it's not the comprehensive amount of pain that they want to go away because it's very painful for them to not be with you romantically, you are nonetheless pain killing sufficiently for them to want to keep you around even though they can't be with you, because you have literally got standards that they cannot enter into your life apart from meeting. And these standards are not created by you, but they're created by God. And those standards are, it is a servant called. You don't just get to take my daughter. You have a job to do. And it is your responsibility and prerogative to find out what that job is. You need to come to me at the throne of grace and ask me, what do you want me to do? What must I do in order to basically, we're like a reward. It's like positive reinforcement, if you want to call it that, in order to inspire certain behavior. The Lord has put these women in front of these men in order for them to be sufficiently encouraged to actually walk in their callings, because they're so great, they're so excellent, and they're so comforting, and they're literally the only source of comfort for these men in these trying days that they're in. There is nobody else that hits the nail in the coffin the way that these women hit the nail in the coffin. There's literally nobody else that fulfills their needs and their desires in the way that these women do. But they don't want to do their jobs. And so because you've got, like I said, you have an assignment as a woman, and basically, therefore, there are rules entering into your particular space. There are obstacles that need to be overcome before this guy can access you. You are the reward, the glaring, shining, sparkling one in the end. And he cannot get you unless he gets through those obstacles. And among the obstacles is literally going to Jesus to find out, what do you want me to do? They're sitting complacent, la-di-da. They hope to enter heaven without fulfilling their mission. They hope to enter heaven at the expense of other people entering heaven. Understand, this is about the call of God on these men's lives. And so therefore, these men are responsible for many souls entering into the kingdom. And so if they don't walk in their calling, many souls don't get to hear the gospel through them. And so they are basically risking the souls of many people. They're risking the souls of many people. So you want to enter heaven alone, while the 20,000 some odd people that God has called you to reach for heaven kind of stay in the dark because you didn't quite get around to preaching to them. You want to go into heaven alone while the 1 million, 2 million, 1 billion, however many people God wants you to reach for himself. You want to go to heaven comfortably just sitting behind other ministers' work without getting your quota of souls into heaven too, because it's who you were supposed to reach. From eternity past, that's the job you've been set apart for. The Lord, it is written in his word, has set apart good works in advance for us to walk in. And here it is that these men are denying their good works. And so therefore, whatever was supposed to become of those good works then doesn't become of those good works, and those souls then what plunge into hell. So if you were a little bit of a Charles Spurgeon, you're going to just forget about the billions of people from the time you lived and died that have since loved the Lord because of your work, even after you died. You must just forget about them. All the ways in which you reached them from long ago must just be forgotten. Imagine if Saul on the road to Damascus was like, it's okay now. I'm quite happy doing the Pharisee thing. Much of the New Testament would not even exist. So whoever might have been inspired to love the Lord, thanks to many of the scriptures therein, where would they be? The 66 books of the Bible would not be 66 by some smaller number. The Lord will not take Noah saying, I'm sorry, but I've got arthritis, so I can't do this whole ark thing. Then the Lord will fix your arthritis, or he will give you supernatural ability to build an ark that looks like the Picasso painting because of your arthritis. So everything looks like a little bit of a caricature of itself. Either way, you will build an ark. They don't get to say no. But the women are the gift. They're the reward. They're the worth my whileness at the end of it all. We are so apparently, allegedly, absolutely perfect, hand toward love, fitting in these men's lives, that we are a sufficient enough positive reinforcement reward in the end of a feat and a trial for these guys to actually get out of their laziness and actually start to walk. Literally get out of a wheelchair when you don't need one. Like, those people in hospitals that get pulled around all over the show in wheelchairs, even though they've got their own 2 legs. You don't know the difference between them and a para or a quadriplegic because they're in hospital. So, it's like a person carrying you around in a wheelbarrow. That's what these men are like. They're like hospital patients that are being wheeled around all over the show, even though really, quite frankly, they can walk by themselves. They can walk. There is no reward, and there's no get. Like with me, this man came into my life, and as soon as he noticed that I have these demands, or I come packaged with a certain calling for him too, he was like, oh, and it was so taxing for him to rather walk in this way that he chose to abandon a love so great as this. Like strong feelings, like a massive romance, like a volcano, a tsunami, a shaking, an earthquake, a width of passion. And it's like, just like was like laziness can be so motivating. Laziness is a huge motivator. So how you motivate a person out of laziness is to be bigger and better than the laziness. And what it is that we, as these women that have been set apart to snatch these prodigal sons out from the flames of hell, what we are doing is basically being bigger and better than lazy. We are showing, displaying, flailing, making like Ruth on the threshing floor, even though we would have much rather wanted to be Rebecca. We are showing that we are worth the while for these men to get up and run. We have to, like hazards. I mean, I would have loved to just sit and have a man find out that it's me. Because I'm so godly, like, duh, of course I'm found. I wanted to be pursued. But in the 21st century, in the very end of days, it's more like Ruth on the threshing floor. And instead of just kind of chilling there at the feet of Boaz, she's grabbing a feather and tickling the feet. So the guy can get up and jump and realize that something is tickling the feet. It's uncomfortable. It's kind of unfortunate, frankly, because I wanted a fairy tale romance so badly. But I got to talk to a man. And I already did this, so I've got like PTSD that is called, and he has to do a job. And he doesn't want to do it. And I'm like, okay, God, if he doesn't want to do it, then meet me with a man that wants to do the job. It's okay. Take the feelings away. It's fine. Help me overcome this guy. He's so defeatist right now. Who neglects so a great love? My goodness. I mean, the passion, the feelings are so strong. Ay. How do you just let that go? Yeah, well, I mean, they do that. Like, they are more motivated unto this dark end than not. So the Lord then makes you an even bigger motivation than laziness can be. The Music Soul Child song is speaking about a dude that's like, the guy's like, never thought that we would ever be more than friends. Now I'm all confused because for you, I have deeper feelings. We both thought it was cool to cross the line, and I was convinced it would be all right. Now things have changed. Now things are strange. Sorry, nothing's the same, and I really just want my friend back. I mean, of course, I started out with this guy, kind of neutral, and then things ramped up, and this is not just my story alone, but it belongs to like many other of these women. The guys want to return back to the days when they could just DM you, talk to you, chat with you, and you don't expect anything from them, or there's no I love yous exchanged. You know that you're busy kind of sort of low-key courting. You kind of like each other, you have feelings, but nothing is really intense or edged and ground. Like, you haven't solidified the fact that this is it, we're doing it. You're just kind of flirting. Yeah, they want to go back to that. Like, we crossed the line. Like, there's no flirting anymore. There's no, does he love me? I want to know. Now it's, I know he loves me. I did a blog about that. Does he love me? I was wearing a face, but like, it's no longer confusion on the part of the woman or the man as to whether or not what's going on here. Does he love me? Is it in his eyes? Oh no, it's no longer does he love me? I want to know, is he loves me? We love each other. It's clear. It was obvious. And then he just like skedaddled and then ghosted me afterwards, got me all excited, and then just ran away. I want to run too then. I want to run. I can run too. Yo, you got legs, you can run. Guess what? Me also. Me, I can also go run. I can go gym. I can go opposite direction. Me, I know how to do what you do, brother. I don't know. You're not the fast one. I wanted to pass that kind of shade, but goodness. Does he love me? I want to know. Now I know. And now that I know that he loves me, we've crossed the line. We've exchanged pleasantries. We've said things. We've planned things. We've spoken in a particular way. You don't get to be violently in love with somebody and spend hours on the phone with them and stare longingly into their eyes over FaceTime and then come back and be like, hey, friend, how you doing? How you doing, girl? Oh, no, it's been a minute. Anyway, holla at me anytime you want. I'm going to hit you up sometime. This time around, my face is like this, and I'm like, literally, you made me fall splat with a thud on the floor, violently in love with you. And then next thing you're calling me, what's going on? What's good, girl? How you doing? Next time I'll hit you up sometime. Hit me up from time to time. No, I don't want to hit you up from time to time. I don't want to call you and see your face again and have my heart like go awry and skip multiple beats while you just sit there on some. So how you doing? How you holding up? What am I, a charity case? Are you here to just make me feel better about the fact that I love you so much that I can't deal? And so you just kind of give me a little bite of you, like a little bit of a bite-sized portion of you, like a mini you, hey? Like you just give me like a little bit of a caricature of you, a doll of you, a little a mud-made like doll of you. Guess what it is? A voodoo doll. Pierce it. I'm sorry. No, I apologize. I'm a child of God. We don't do voodoo here on this channel, but you get my point. Like a guy that's just like, he wants you in his life, but you are taxing. You're the only source of comfort, but there are things that he just can't quite get past with you. Doesn't want you out of his life, but he wants you. No, you don't get to after I got to freely say I love you and stare at you as much as I wanted to stare into your eyes over the computer because it was never live. I don't get to look at you again, and this time I can't look at you like I'm looking at my man, but I'm looking at a friend. There's a way to look at the love of your life. You look at a friend like, hey, what's up? What's going on? And then you look at your person like, I don't know, you get my point. There's a way that you look at your person, a way. And you want me to go from looking at you like, to looking at you like, yo, hey. No, dude, no, please. Like, don't. You're playing with me. And he did that. Like, at some point, there was a day when he did that to me, where he was like, you can call me anytime you want. I was like, and call you what, pal? Get out. Like, leave me alone. Ay. Pumpele. Ay, spitza parafini via. Palama scooter vela pi. Go. I was like, I can't do this. I'm in love with you. You amen. Hashem. Juai. Ni pambene. Akuna self-respect, no control. Niziphathe kakubi. Khalana maitseo. Anyway, whatever. So, Music Soul Child, never thought that we would ever be more than friends. Now I'm all confused because for you I have deeper feelings and then you don't want to run with them. I mean, the defeatism of men. Very rarely do women ignore their feelings, guys. Chinkaloku pambene. Now I'm all confused because for you I have deeper feelings. We both thought it was cool to cross the line. And it was because we agreed that we love each other. We agreed we got feelings. Like, there's nothing wrong with admitting that this is bigger than just, hey, what's up, what's good? Like a little bit of an emoji, a smiling emoji every so often in a DM. Yeah, but then when it gets to a point where you can't stop thinking about the person, it's okay to admit feelings. And then you just like want to make like Michael Jackson and moonwalk backwards from that. Ni pambene ni. Hi, self-control, I call. At all. I don't know. Wait thinking. Full stop, nothing. Akuna maitseo wonke umuntu la kwaqona uphume endleleni. Hayi ndoda, ungathanda istrata that much. Ungaqo la emgaqweni uthanda istrata so much that you will leave umfazi wakho emva. Wena ne-cul-de-sac nihlangene kanje. Yield sign ne-stop sign uwe nidibene ngakufana cha but uzawundishiya mna ndi-one for what? O tla nketsa le hore ke bue Setswana le Sezulu o buti le o sa se tlhaloganye tle. Motho o tswa America tle ga nkutlwe mara nna ga ke itse go expressa sometimes ka se ho motho gana ho se ke lo bana ba re motho gana ho. I apologize for using my language. Some things just can't be expressed in English. My facial expressions and my body language on its own is an onomatopoeia. It should give you a sign or a hint or a more or less gauging as to what I just said there. It's just basically, long story short, you're crazy. You don't get to let that go. Like, you and the street, you like the street so much. That's what I was saying when I was saying Mgaqweni cul-de-sac and stop sign and yield sign. You so like the wild, the street out here. You like the street, like Horata Strata. It's just such a black term. Like I don't even know how to do it. Like it's like you're forward. You like the streets. You're a street dude. And so because you like the streets, you're always all up in like embracing the stop sign, the cul-de-sac, and the T-junction. Like come home to your wife, dude, and stop hanging out by the robot. But the cul-de-sac nanti right butiko wendlini. Yeah, nankatele kasmuch, I'm tired. Nankatele umtotandi stata. It's winter in South Africa. It is so cold. Guys, when Anton we yield sign put when Antoni we pedestrian crossing the othandi stata ngakhona buya endlini. What are you doing at the pedestrian crossing when you got a home? It's cold. Moving on. Never thought that we would ever be more than friends. Now I'm all confused because for you I have deeper feelings. We both thought it was cool to cross the line and I was convinced it would be alright. Nothing's strange, nothing's the same. And I really just want my friend back. That's not possible. We crossed the line. We said I love you. We exchanged looks. And we knew that we were going to get married. There's no coming back from that. You don't get to have an ex-fiance and then be like, what's up, pal? No, I'm not your pal. You and your cul-de-sac, okay? And my mind's gone half crazy because I can't leave you alone. Can't get you out of my system. And I wonder if it's worth me holding on. Said my mind's gone half crazy because I can't leave you alone. Can't get you out of my system. And I wonder if it's worth me holding on. Literally, like 2 days ago and yesterday, I heard this in the spirit. Like I am not out here in these streets making stuff up. God was showing me this song. It just came up. It's from the 90s, this song. This is what I heard. And I instantly knew the song. I remembered it. And when I started to recall the lyrics in my mind, I was like, oh my goodness. So that's what he's thinking. What popped up in the kitchen when I was in there was just it was so loud. It was almost as if though it was playing in the house. The way it was so audible. Literally, I'm in the kitchen. I'm doing what I'm doing and I start hearing. That is God, guys. That's how Jesus speaks, okay? Sometimes, well, with me, the Lord uses music a lot. The Lord was telling me that this is the song that is in this. This is the mindset of this man. Imagine that, guys. Like you're like chilling in the kitchen. You're making eggs. I don't know what I was doing, but like you're sitting, and then all of a sudden you hear this. That's literally how it happened. It gave me goosebumps. And I knew the exact song straight away because it was one of my favorite back in the day. The level of defeatism is literally, it's astronomical. And then the next verse, he's like, I'd hate to walk away from you as if as if this never existed. Goodness, like, you know, reading that also reminds me of another song that came to my mind, Katy Perry's I just can't believe we went from strangers to lovers to strangers in a lifetime. Yeah. And I'm like, why in the world does it even have to be that way? Whatever, dude. Okay. I'd hate to walk away from you as if this never existed. Because when we kissed, okay, we never kissed, but you get my point. We spoke a lot. I'd hate to walk away from you as if though this never existed. Because when we kissed, the moment after, I looked at you different. So yeah, we looked at each other a lot. That's what happens when you look at someone through a camera all the time. All you can do is just stare. Because when we kissed, the moment after, I looked at you different. Lately, I gotta watch what I say. I mean, that's totally true. We went from just like, you know, for sure, cool, yeah, no, sharp, talking like that, and now everything he said, I was like, but you, that's just the thing about you. That's the thing about, you know, when every time somebody speaks and your response is always, that's just the thing. That's just the thing. That's like literally that's the beginning of every sentence. That's just the thing. That's just the thing. That's just the thing. That's just the thing. The guy could be like, I was busy watching like this presidential speech the other day. That's just the thing. That's just the thing. Why weren't you watching my videos on YouTube? Because I was busy trying to talk to you. Like, you're not paying attention to us. Like, everything resulted in a that's just the thing from me. I was always like, that's just the thing. Because this man he manifested unsaved. He started to walk in a very unsaved way after asking God, is this man saved? Is he in you? Because remember, I did speak earlier that not everybody who says to the Lord, Lord, Lord will enter into the kingdom. So I had to be sure that he was Christian, especially considering we were now busy falling in love. And after like praying such prayers, he started to manifest very ungodly behavior. And so we fought like quite a lot. And everything he would say from that point forward, especially considering now I love yous were exchanged and we were planning a future. Most of my sentences had a default template, and they started with "that's just the thing." I was like, that's just the thing. I said the other day that you need to check if you were saved at all, because you've got all of these carnal things that you're doing. That's just the thing. That's just the thing. That's just the thing. You like why when I apologize to you take 10 years to respond? That's just the thing. A Christian is supposed to forgive 70 times 7 times. That's just the thing. I was always responding with that's just the thing. So basically we got overwhelmed, and it was like, to him it was like, with being overwhelmed with my that's just the thing personality, the thing that I became, I went from being like, cool, sharp, no, it's alright, cool, like, yeah, no, see you tomorrow, chat tomorrow, or whatever, being really cool. If he doesn't respond to a DM, I was like, oh no, it's cool. I was like, busy anyway. Yeah, and now like just 1 hour away. It's like, and this is like a time zone, do you understand? Like, we are separated by a time zone. I'm in South Africa, this guy is in the US. So a time zone is like something to consider. But I would get angry when he doesn't respond like straight away, knowing that we are separated by an entire 9 hours. Like 9. Well, that's just the thing. Like, he got angry at me for not responding to his DM when it was like the wee hours of the morning for me, but it was daytime for him. That's just the thing. We literally, like, everything fell apart so fast. And the last time he got annoyed with me was because I didn't respond to a DM he sent me in the early hours of the morning. I was sleeping. But I've also done the same thing to him, where like he did not respond, and I was looking, like, for me it was nighttime. It was nighttime, like 9 p.m. in South Africa, and I sent him some long, very happy message, and he didn't respond for hours. And he had told me earlier that he was gonna do some errands, run some errands, and I was so anxious. I was so irritated with the fact that he's not responding, forgetting that it's daytime for him, and he's not sitting 10 p.m. in a bed like me in South Africa. He's literally running around wherever he's at. And I got so voiced, like, I had to literally go and check the time where he is at to calm myself down. And when he didn't respond at a time when I thought he should have responded, because now it was like 7 p.m. at night for him, that's when I was like, you know what? No, this is rubbish. Like, yeah, we started fighting so much. From the time when I started pretty much highlighting to him that there are things that you're doing that make me uncomfortable, that you're not even saved in Christ. And it was at that stage when I started to pretty much try and hold him accountable for some of his unchristian behavior, including lifestyle. He was very candid and honest with certain things that he was still doing, and I was like, but how do you not have conviction about that? How do you not have conviction about that? Like, I've been waiting, blah, yeah, stuff like that. That's just the thing. That's just the thing. That's just the thing. So basically he was like, eventually, like we were good. When you break up, when you've only been together for like such a short time, but you can't stay away from the person, so you keep on going back type thing. Like, something of that nature happened with us literally in way more than times that was absolutely necessary. And I was like, and then eventually one time when I got frustrated with the fact that he didn't respond to me at the time that I wanted him to respond to me, and I was like, whatever, it's over. But then I changed my mind. And that's when he was like, nah, And then after saying no, he came back and was like, call me, let's talk. And then I, at that time, was like, that's just the thing. I was like, whoa. So it's a two-way thing. And I have said this yesterday that I had issues too. I was feisty. Yesterday I spoke about how it is that I was feisty. I was that woman that was like, I don't need you. I'm godlier than you, blah, blah. And, you know, I did that video where I spoke about women in the rural areas who have to beg as bad men and whatnot. Yeah, well, I had that mindset that I don't have to sit you out. Plus, on top of that, you're not as consecrated as I am. You're not as holy as I am. And yeah, like, that's just a thing, you know? You and your cul-de-sac. Yeah, I was on that tip. And so he just got, like, exhausted. Like, it got tiring. But another thing that got exhausting to him was the fact that he struggled to answer many important questions. It was not just a childish fight between two people. Like, the war between us was a byproduct of much deeper segregation by us from each other, by mere virtue of the fact that I was close to Christ and he wasn't. He wasn't as close to Jesus as he ought to have been. And so our fights, even over small things, and our lack of understanding over time zone issues was exacerbated by the fact that the devil was literally riding on his compromise in comparison to mine. And so I was tempted to be a diva and a bobblehead. I spoke about that yesterday. And he realized that there's a lot that is expected of him by me. And he's tired. And in life, generally, he's just exhausted. He's been through a lot. And he's just like, I mean, I love her. Like, it's great that I met a woman like this. She's really godly, but goodness, whoa. It's too much. What he was warring with was not even so much stupid fights over time zones. It was the fact that he was not prepared to be serious about Jesus and what Christ wants for him. One of our last arguments was about the fact he was basically yelling at me for trying to make him a person he's not. That was after I asked him, what are you gonna do once we come together with your life? And he got upset. He got upset because it's like I was waiting to hear a purpose-filled answer that had everything to do with Jesus and his plan for the kingdom. And he was like, he has a worldly lifestyle. And the only difference between him and the world is the fact that he's every so often in the Bible and in the, end times prophecy, he's always watching Christian content. But his lifestyle is not very different from the lifestyles of men who don't know Jesus. And that's what made him kind of get off the rails and angry at me, meaning that even the smaller fights we had were, like I said, a byproduct of the original root issue. His lack of consecration and my very extreme consecration, the devil sowed discord between us because I had potential to reach him with my peaceable and quiet spirit for godliness, like real earnest godliness. And Satan was not interested in him getting around to doing that because he has a call on his life to rescue way more souls from the flames of hell than I can ever rescue. So Satan didn't want him getting right with God. And so he just got mad at me. He was easily taken by Satan because he was not close to God. And there was nothing I could do after that. My goodness, I tried, hey? Oh my goodness, I tried because I have such strong feelings. And I had such a charge from God that I couldn't just drop this. He ghosted me. Like, he made it impossible for me to try and reach him. He made it impossible for me to try and talk through things with him. He basically just, like, when you even send an apology and no one responds, like, he does, like, I didn't even know what I was apologizing for, by the way. Like, when a person overkills in their answer, in their response, like when a person is excessive in how they react to something small, I ended up apologizing because I did, like, his reaction was so extreme. I mean, that stuff is demonic. It was demonic. It was entirely demonic. He was entitled. And he wanted me to be watered down so we could be together. And when he realized that I was too fervent, he was like, whatever, it doesn't even have to happen. But I'm not like any other woman he's ever been with. This time around, he can't just let go. He can't just let go. So now I, being the bigger person, because I'm the godly one in this equation, I'm the one that's really consecrated, I'm fighting then for him. And that appears to be the case for many of these women across the board, across the show, that are talking to these prodigal sons. So this Music Soul Child song is like, I'd hate to walk away from you as if this never existed, Cause when we kissed, the moment after I looked at you different. Lately, I gotta watch what I say. That, remember what I said about that's just the thing response that I had, my default template. Lately, I gotta watch what I say, cause you take things personal nowadays. You used to laugh, now you get mad. Damn. I just want my friend back. So now he wants the relationship we had in the beginning where there was no obligation. And I don't know how men can be able to do that with women they're very in love with, but the day when he was like, call me if you want to talk to someone, I was like, what are you, a shrink? Mother Teresa? Please, no. I am not going to be calling the man I love just to be like, I want to shoulder that sword. That sword. No, I want you. I want you. And if I can't have you, I don't want nobody, baby. I can't have you. Oh. If I can't have you, I don't want nobody. I swear men love to ignore their feelings like I'm good. Like, yo. Solomon Grundy. Anyway. Yeah. I just want my friend back, and then the chorus again, and my mind's gone half crazy because I can't leave you alone, can't get you out of my system, and I wonder if it's me, if this is worth holding on. So the portion where he's like, I wonder if it's worth holding on, is the same question that I'm asking too. Like, really, we're all asking this question. God, I don't want this guy because he doesn't, like, he's not coming around. He's ghosted me. I don't want him. I send him emails to try and like send an olive branch. I send him DMs. And he just like ignores me. I don't want him. Is it worth it holding on? I've been asking the same question, and I can't, like, look at me now. Looking like a Dumbo. Look at me now. So he's asking the same question. Is it worth it holding on? Well, I have this question to ask in turn. Literally, the stupid thing that we all do in this world where we answer questions with questions. Who else do you have? Literally, I'm your best shot. In this world. In the same way that you're my best shot. And only shot. It's literally reciprocated. We're both in a bunch, and a bad one. And we need each other. None of us can thrive and breathe without each other. I'm just the one here that's mature enough to finally admit it. And so it's about like coming together and agreeing then in one accord that that's what's going on. That's just the thing. That's just the thing. That's just the thing. Because of my godliness, I was the first to admit something that is sitting in your brain. Is this worth holding on? It's the what else do you have? There's nothing else out there for you. There's no other match like me for you. There's no one else who understands your situation like me. The Lord's made it. The Lord saw it fit to make it that way so that none of us can walk away from each other without facing some dystopian end to our lives. I am mature enough to admit that, and that's why I'm fighting so much for you, sounding like a madwoman on social media, but at least I'm not the only one. Only reason I've been encouraged to write, to do these blogs, is because these videos. It's because there are many other women who are also doing them. And so therefore I know I'm not alone. Otherwise I would have just kept quiet in a corner and languished by myself. The Lord made me find these women so I can understand this is not a crazy thing I'm doing. There is a real problem with our men. You have no one else. Yes, in the same way I also have no one else. We are each other's only shot. I am ready to do what I need to do to make this work. You're the one here that doesn't want to do what God wants you to do, and I don't know what it is. You would have to pray. All I know is that you can't continue in the complacency of your current life. Anyway. And my mind's gone crazy. I can't leave you alone. And I wonder if it's worth me holding on. Said my mind's going crazy and I can't leave you alone. Can't get you out of my system. That's another thing. Can't get me out of your system. Well, I can't get you out of my system. And that's why I'm here looking like a mad woman on social media. Okay. What happened to the one I used to know? She was a friend and all things start out light and then they get heavy. So accept, like, it's alright. It happened. Like, things got heavy. Like, there's no going back now. We crossed the line. The one I used to laugh and joke with, the one I used to tell all my secrets. We used to chill and be down for whatever together. Yeah, well, those are the good old days. You could think of better days, and now you're so lonely. 'Cause you're chilling by the cul-de-sac with a stop sign for a pillow. 'Cause you could never see tomorrow. Heaven, however, told you about your sorrow. Hey, how can you mend your broken heart? How can you stop these tears from falling down? Heed your calling. Hey! That's when you'll know that the world will continue to go round. La 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 la. Yeah. So that's what Jesus Christ done showed us, sister. That was a prophecy. I don't very easily come here and say, "Yeah, poor Farsi." For the better part of the time, I'm just speculating on world events. But now this is a prophecy because I believe that that's what the Lord is showing me concerning what's going on. Women, we no longer have the luxury of Rebecca. Maybe God will give us the Rebecca experience once these guys stop being so dead in trespasses and sins. I don't know, hey? Like with my particular person, I don't even think he's saved. I think he's been called, like, you know, the Lord says, behold, I stand at the door and I knock. I feel like the Lord has been standing at the door and knocking for decades in this man's life. He does not bear any fruit at all. And if at all he is saved, he is backslidden, like badly. Yeah. So basically he would need to actually truly get saved. He's like my dad. He would need to truly get saved. Now, a guy who's always speaking Christianese, Bible talk and all that jazz, it's a thin line. It's very difficult to gauge successfully with them if they're in Christ. But, you know, they manifest. They eventually show their side that is not so pleasant. It is the candy man. If you say it 5 times, it becomes a beast. So yeah. As with us as women, we have to be patient. Maybe perhaps the Lord in due season will then give us the Rebecca experience. Like I said, I know what I asked for from the Lord. I wanted to be pampered, cushed up, and all that jazz. I wanted to be spoiled. I wanted a man to learn my love language and actually like practice speaking it. I wanted that. Maybe it'll come. I don't know. It has to. Goodness, like with all this work, this is for me also some kind of positive reinforcement. Hopefully in the end I'll get the love I need. I am ready for love. Ngialufuna lonko uthando lwenhliziyo yakho, ngoba mina ngizokunika lokhu uthando, ngizokunika lolu thando, ngizokunika lolu thando lwenhliziyo yami. I will give you love from my heart, but I want the one from your heart too. That's what that song means that I started us singing. Righto. So that's today's message, you guys. Mouthful, right? Loquacious. Please love, share, comment, subscribe, like too, if there's no love button. But love, yes. And follow me on Twitter, TikTok. Go read my WordPress account and everything that I've written in there. And then come back and love some more. I hope you've been edified in the name of Christ. It's 40 minutes past midnight. That's how much I work, okay? That's why I'm backlogged, okay? Life is rough, okay? But life is going to be better. Why? Because Christ. Okay. Peace.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and finally subscribe. Bye.